Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time on this channel, you are welcome. I am Anne Pochen. I'm an author and I also do business. Now today's video is basically for that part of my channel where we talk about real life issues. I'm on the main road. So if you hear cars and you see me stop talking, it's because I want the cars to pass so that you can hear what I'm saying. So I'll talk after the car has passed. So today's topic is basically me sharing with you how debt hinders your wealth creation journey. Okay, and I'll also share with you how you can come out of debt. Okay, like the method you can use, especially if you've got more than one. Now, debt hinders your wealth creation journey because all the money or most of the money that you would be getting would be going towards the debt that you have to pay off. Okay, so especially if it's a big debt, yeah, people find themselves like having to spend most of their money paying back the debt. And whether it's just if it's one and it's a big debt, it's also a problem. And if it's more than one and they're small debts, but you've got a major one that's large, that also still hinders you if there's bad debt. Okay, because apparently there are two types of debts. Apparently, one is good debt, which means you borrowed some money to do a business venture and a cash flow asset, and out of that loan you've got an asset that keeps giving you cash. Now apparently, according to the wealthy, that's good debt, right? But bad debt is the one where you've borrowed money and you've spent it on something that wouldn't give you back money, and it just keeps taking money out of your pocket. Okay, because you have to pay it back. Now that's bad debt. Okay, so for example, if you owe rent, that's bad debt. If you owe money on your bills, such as like water bill, you know, council tax, phone bills, things like that, things of that nature, or you bought a car that is a liability, it's not putting money back in your pocket, that is bad debt. Or you bought a TV, because some people buy TV on credit, buy beds on credit, buy appliances on credit. Those are considered bad debt. Okay, so So you have to minimize getting into bad debt. You have to avoid, if you can avoid getting into bad debt, avoid it completely. If you can minimize bad debt, minimize it completely. For me, I don't like to borrow. I don't like to borrow, but the only time I will borrow is if I really, really, really need to. Like if it's a liability, if it's a bad debt, but I need it, I will borrow, but I won't borrow a big amount. I'll borrow a small amount that is payable, that I can pay back. But out of what I've borrowed, I'll make sure that would get something that would generate me an income at the end of it as well. Okay, so I had over 3 grand of debt, and that was just one. Okay, but altogether I had like, if not 4,000, 5,000 or under 5,000 pounds debt. Okay, I'm crossing the road. Need to cross the road. Right now. So yeah, but the biggest one of one was my rent arrears. Okay, I had a rent arrears on a property, and I was not able to get another property because of that debt. And that made me homeless, and I had to live in shared accommodation like a lodger for a couple of years, and it was horrible and it was hard. Okay, and it got to a point where I was like literally living on the street. That's how bad it was, because I couldn't live the way I was living anymore. So I thought, what could I do? And being a Christian, I was praying to God. Like I had people that I could go and live with, but I didn't want that anymore. I wanted like my own property, and I wanted my life to like change. So I kept praying, like, God make a way, God make a way. And eventually one day God was like, just go and tell these people the truth, like the council. And because I owed the council the 3 grand on my rent arrears, right? And not only did I owe rent arrears with them, but I also owe like over £1,000 in council tax. Okay, and we had gone to court, everything. They had given the person back their property, and basically made me intentionally. I was considered intentionally homeless because I missed the court hearing. Very important, I digress, that when you have a court hearing, that you make it to the court hearing. And if you can't make it on time, it's very important that you call the court and tell them that you can't make it on time so that they reschedule it. Okay? So it doesn't work against you. because they'll decide the matter whether you attend or not. Okay, but if you call them and let them know that you can't make it, then they won't decide the matter without your presence. Okay, so anyway, I ended up going to the I've, I ended up going to the council. I'm sitting down now. Take a moment, sit down. Now, um, ended up going to the council, told them everything. I know I owe you this amount of money, and I'm not able to. I don't know how I'm going to pay you back, but I'm going to pay you back every penny. Now they looked at me, and they were like, "Okay, well, we don't believe you're homeless." And I was like, yes, I'm homeless. You can check the cameras where I have been sleeping. I've been washing myself in McDonald's, eating out, changing my clothes when I can, and yeah, I really need help, right? And eventually they gave us a property. Cut the long story short, I ended up losing that property as well because I was put in a mental institution. And while I was in the hospital for 4 months, I managed to pay off some of the, some of the money that I owed them. I managed to pay it off. And then I moved to foster home, right? And then I ended up meeting this woman in the foster, who's a foster carer. And she basically taught me how to come out of debt and how to be disciplined with my money, because I wasn't disciplined with my money. And I managed to pay off the 3 grand within a year, which meant that I was able to go back onto the housing ladder, okay, social housing, and I managed to get my house back. Okay, I managed to get a home. Not the same house, but I managed to get a property. Okay, so while I was paying off that debt, I couldn't do much in terms of investment. I could do business, but only a little bit of business. But I couldn't invest. I couldn't do much at all because most of the money would go on trying to pay off this debt. Okay? And then I had to create a habit of of minimizing debt altogether and not borrowing more and more. Okay, so then I moved into our current property, and because I didn't have any savings, okay, I ended up going into debt like the first month, the first 2-3 months, 2 months into rent arrears, again, and into council tax arrears, and into water bill arrears, and all of that. So I ended up having to get a financial advisor. Now, this financial advisor gave me the the blueprint of how basically I could have all my debt paid off. Okay, not at once. I wish it was, but because it's different things for different things, right? The financial advisor just told me to call the people who I normally get money from, to arrange with them to pay the people that I owe money. So like my rent to be paid directly to the housing association, and then also on top of that they should add the money that I would have been paying them to cover my rent arrears to also be paid directly to them. Okay? And then they said I should do the same thing with the council tax. Okay, so I did the same thing with the council tax. So now I don't have debt collectors at my house. I don't have debt collectors, debt agencies coming at my house knocking on my door. I don't have that anymore. So I'm at peace. And the people, they're getting their money. And the people that I couldn't pay directly, I set up a direct debit. Okay, I set up a direct debit where money could be taken out, a certain amount of money that we agreed on could be taken out to cover the debt. Okay? So then they don't have to be at my house either, or the debt collection agency doesn't have to be coming to my house either. Okay? Which took a whole burden off my chest. Okay? Because having debt collectors coming to your door is not nice. It's not very nice, and especially when you have children living with you, it's even worse. Okay, so that is basically how I'm managing to pay off what I owe. And then I ended up paying most of my council tax as well from my old property. Okay, and like certain accounts were closed because I paid off completely, and then there's just one account that is left that will be paid off shortly. And so then that is closed chapter. Now, what method did I use? I used the snowball method of debt repayment plan. The snowball method means you pay a little bit on all your debts, but you pay the most on your biggest debt. And once the biggest debt is paid off, then you take that amount plus the amount of what you were paying on the smaller debt, you combine it and begin to pay off on the second debt. And you keep doing that rolling effect until you paid off all your debts, okay? All of them. All right, so that's how I managed to do it with the council that I owed, and that's how I'm doing it now, even with the people that I owe. So a small amount is being taken out every month to pay them off until all of it would be officially paid off. And then I'll be completely out of bad debt. And I've completely minimized getting into debt. So I don't buy anything on credit. I don't have a credit card. I don't buy anything on credit. I buy everything cash. Okay? And I invest in cash. I build my business just using cash. Okay, so I don't get into debt. Now, once I finish paying off all my bad debt, all the bad debt that I have, then I'll look into using the good debt for investment, for real estate investment. But that's that's something for another day. That's another conversation altogether. Apparently, to use debt for investments, you have to be very well financially educated to know how it works to avoid losing out a lot. So I haven't really studied that aspect of debt, and therefore I don't want to give you information that I don't have. Okay, so use the snowball effect. There's also another method of paying off bad debt. Is called the avalanche debt repayment plan, where you take lump sums of your money and pay off like all the debt, okay, in big chunks, and you pay it off, and you go and pay off another one, and pay off another in chunks, big chunks, okay. That's an avalanche. It works for some people, especially for people who get like a lot of money. They have disposable cash, right? So they'll use that method to pay off. So if they had say for example, if they had £1,000 debt, and they had maybe £1,000, over £1,000 come into their account, they'll take their £1,000 and pay it off. If they had another one that was £500, if they had more than £500 come into their account, they'll take the £500, they'll pay it off straight, finish, case closed. They'll do that, and that's what they'll do. Okay, that's called the avalanche effect, where you just take big lump sum of money and pay off your debt at once. Okay, it works for some people, but for some people it doesn't work for them because they have a smaller amount of income and they have other responsibilities, financial responsibilities to attend to. So the snowball effect is the most effective for them. Okay, now don't avoid your debt. Don't avoid debt. If you have debt, don't avoid it, because sometimes I was so overwhelmed, I avoided it, I just left it, but it ended up piling because they'll charge you fees on top of it, on top of what you already owe. So try not to, not try, don't avoid debt. Just call them and make arrangements and tell them, be honest with them and make arrangements to pay off. They're more forgiving in that case, rather than you just avoiding them completely and not communicating with them. Okay, even if, you know, paying as small as £3, because even the court, like, there's certain things, if you owe, they'll tell them, the court will tell them, you know, they'll look at your income, they'll tell them, just take the £3 every week. Take the £3 every week or every month. Okay, they'll say this person can pay this amount, and that's the only amount you can have, and then it adds up. Okay, so if they say £3 a week, it adds up. By the end of the month you've paid them like maybe £16 or £12 or something, and that still is bringing the debt down. And months where you can pay more, you top it up. Okay, and but yeah, that's basically it. Let me know in the comment section if the which let me know in the comment section which method of debt payment plan worked for you. Let me know. Let me know. Okay, that is it, guys. I shall see you in the next video. Bye.